So here we go. We have a break in the Drejka case and now we have a break in this particular case too. It gives me an opportunity to bring in Gene Rossi, Law&Crime legal analyst, a great friend here on the show. I see you have a new background there, Gene. Is that, are you on vacation or something?
Well, I was just checking in my son at Ole Miss. I got to do a shout out, hotty toddy. I'm in Greenwood, Mississippi, in my mother-in-law's living room. How do you like that?
Oh, wow, wow. Looks great. And you look great, too. Congratulations. You got to move forward on one more case here, and that is the one that we were covering earlier today, the Michael Drejka case. And that again, is another really interesting case. The prosecutor's opening statement set the groundwork. Remember, this is going to be another self-defense case. Let's listen to the prosecutor's opening. All right, so Gene Rossi, thoughts on this? I mean, this is one of these cases where not only do you have a videotape that doesn't, in my opinion, bode or look too well for the defendant in the case, but you've got this other 404 evidence that's coming out with respect to other parking-related issues where the guy's saying it's a good thing I wasn't carrying, suggesting that he was going to shoot somebody over a parking dispute. Not good for the defense.
Oh, no, and that 404B could be the Achilles heel of the case. And this boils down to the video. If the video shows that no reasonable person would act in the manner that this defendant did, then he will be found guilty in a New York minute. In the video, I don't know how clear it is. I don't know how precise it is. But that video is the whole case in my book.
Yeah, I mean, in the video, I mean, we're looking at it right now on the TV set. You know, you see he's arguing with the girlfriend of the victim, and the victim comes out of this store and just, I mean, honestly blindsides the guys. No doubt about it. I mean, it was probably a very frightening thing for him. Gets knocked down to the ground pretty hard, and while he's on the ground, he pulls the weapon out. And then it gets a little, it looks like the victim is kind of backing up towards the car and he shoots. And then the victim runs away. So it's an interesting thing there. And the stand your ground state, Gene, if you could explain to our audience, you know, specifically what that means. I personally don't really see this at play here in this particular case, but why don't you explain that for us?
Well, you know what? The stand your ground law in Florida, if not in other states, is essentially that if you are in reasonable fear, it's almost sort of like statutory self-defense. If you're in reasonable fear for your life and you have a firearm and you proportionately address the fear that is confronting you, you can take someone's life. And it's a proportionality. If someone just touches you, you can't pull out your gun and shoot them 8 times. But if someone is coming at you with a knife or approaching you with a firearm, you can take their life if you feel that that is appropriate to save your own life or to save you from significant harm. The problem with the defendant is the victim was not armed, although he did push him down. The victim was standing several feet away. He obviously didn't have any knife or firearm, and he couldn't punch him. And there was a couple seconds where the defendant had time to reflect on how he was going to react. And I think the gun, taking out the gun and shooting him under the law and common law, was not proportional to what happened to him by being pushed on the ground.
Yeah, you know, you got to get 12 here, Gene, on this case. But, you know, also just to retort with that, the defendant refers to the police to the 21-foot rule. That's the 21-foot radius around you where you could be attacked, and cops are in fact trained at how quickly and within that distance somebody can close the gap, as it were. And the other thing about using the weapon as a force multiplier, in addition to the fact that he said, I had no clue whatsoever what this guy's end game was, so I needed to pull the gun out. In other words, he's just saying, I was just sitting there, and the next thing you know, I'm violently thrown down onto the ground. So I think it's going to be an interesting case as to whether you can get 12 people, because no matter how you add it up, I know that they're kind of saying that he's the initial aggressor because he was arguing with the girlfriend in the car about being in the handicapped parking spot, but the person who laid hands first out of nowhere and blindsided the guy was the victim. That's just a fact in this case. And I think that that could resonate with one particular juror. I'm just saying that's how I'd play it as a defense attorney, and what I'd be concerned about as a prosecutor could potentially happen. Gene, let's listen to a little bit more of the prosecutor's opening statement. You know, as odd as this sounds, I actually had somebody who was like a handicap parking person that would go around and find people that were parking illegally in handicapped spots and would confront the people. And I'm sure he and the person I know aren't the only people. So anyway, there you go. There's the prosecution's case. Yeah, they weren't supposed to be there in the handicapped parking spot. The victim goes inside the store. There she is with two kids. This guy, this crazy guy, as he called them, is lurking around and looking in the windows and now starts confronting her about being in the handicapped parking spot. And basically, the prosecution's trying to show there that he is the person that's causing all the controversy here. I guess that it would have been inappropriate for somebody to be complaining that somebody was illegally parked in a handicapped spot, which is typically not an argument prosecutors make. They usually go pretty heavy on people that are parked illegally in handicapped spots. Nevertheless, we're going to do some business here at the Law and Crime Network. We're going to take a break. Man, these are some really interesting cases. I'll be back with Gene Rossi on the other end.